Okay, so in continuation with our reporting last Monday, we will continue on with the next slide. So our next slide will be about the basic patterns of cash flow. First is the single amount. What is a single amount? It is a lump sum amount either currently held or expected at some future date. So for single amounts, we have future value of a single amount. If you invest for one period at an interest rate of R, your investment will grow to 1 plus R per dollar invested. So the formula for this is future value equals principal amount times 1 plus R. So an example for this would be, suppose you have invested $300 in a savings account that pays 10% interest per year. How much will you have in 1 year? So we use the formula future value equals principal amount times 1 plus R. So for principal amount, it will be $300 times 1 plus 0.10, which is the interest, 10%, 0.10, and then we will get the answer of $330. So that's the way to compute the future value of a single amount. Next, we have the single amounts, the concept of future value, compound interest. This is the amount of interest earned on a given deposit has become part of the principal at the end of a specified period. Annual compounding is the most common type of compounding interest. So the formula for the future value of compound interest will be future value equals present value times 1 plus R over N. So N will be the number of periods that the money is left on deposit. So an example for this would be, assume you have $900 deposited in a savings account paying 10% interest compounded annually. How much money will you have in 6 years? So we follow the formula given, and then the present value would be $900, and then times 1 plus the interest, which is 10%, 0.10, and then n, which is 6 years. So this is the formula given, and then the answer would be $901.77. Next, we have present value of a single amount. In present value of a single amount, process of discounting the future value to determine the amount of money that would have to be invested today at a given interest rate to equal the future amount. So the formula for present value of a single amount would be present value equals future value divided by 1 plus R. So an example for this is, suppose you need $110 in a year and you can earn 10% on your money. How much do you have to invest today to reach your goal? So we use this formula, which is the future value divided by 1 plus R, or future value over 1 plus R. So the future value would be $110, and we over 1 plus the interest, which is the R, which is 10%. So we put $110 over 1 plus 0.10, and then we get 100. So that's how you compute for the present value of a single amount. Next, the concept of present value discounting cash flows. The inverse of compounding interest discounting determines the present value of the future amount, assuming an opportunity to earn a certain return on the money at a given period of time. The annual rate of return is variously referred to as the discount rate, required return, cost of capital, and opportunity cost. So the formula for this is future value over 1 plus R over N, which is the number of periods that the money is left on deposit. So an example for this would be, suppose you need $20,000 in 15 years and you can earn 7.5% on your money. How much do you have to invest today to reach your goal? So we use the formula given. So FV is 20,000 and then N would be 15 years over 1 plus 0.075, which is the rate, 7.5%, over 15 years. So when you compute that, you get 6,759.34. Okay, so next basic patterns of cash flow would be annuity. So what is annuity? An annuity represents a series of equal payments or receipts occurring over a specified number of equidistant periods. So we have two types of annuity. We have ordinary annuity, which it is when the cash flow occurs at the end of each period, and annuity due, which is the cash flow that occurs in the beginning of each period. So examples for annuity would be student loan payments, car loan payments, insurance premiums, mortgage payments, and retirement savings. So for annuities, future value of an ordinary annuity, we have this kind of formula, and the legend is also presented here, which is R for interest rate, N represents the number of payments in the annuity, and CF for cash flow. So an example of this would be, a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of $800 at the end of each year for 6 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 9%. So we use the formula given, and then we have $800 for the cash flow times 1 plus 9%, which is the rate. So we annotate on the decimal point 0.09, and we have N for 6 years, the period, minus 1 over the rate again, which is 0.09. So when we compute that, we will get 6,018.67. Next, we have annuity's present value of an ordinary annuity. So this is the formula for the present value of an ordinary annuity. So an example for this would be, a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of $700 at the end of each year for 5 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So we use the formula given, and then we have $700 for the cash flow divided by the rate, which is 0.088%, and then we multiply it to 1 minus 1 over 1 plus the rate again, which is 8%, 0.08 over the over 5, over the n, which is 5 years. So when we compute that, we get 2,794.90. Next, we have the future value of an annuity due. This is the formula, and this is the and then we have an example. A company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of $700 at the end of each year for 5 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So we use the formula for future value of an annuity due. So we have the cash flow is $700, and we multiply it to 1 plus the rate, which is also 8%, so 0.08. And by n, which is 5 years, minus 1, all over the rate again, which is 8%, times 1 plus the rate again, which is 8%. When we compute that, we will get 4,435.15. Next, we have the annuity's present value of an annuity due. So this is the formula for present value of an annuity due, and this is the R for interest rate, and for represents the number of payments in the annuity, and CF for cash flow. So an example for this is a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular annuity due. The annuity consists of cash flows of $700 at the end of each year for 5 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So we follow this formula, and again, the cash flow is $700 divided by the rate, which is 8%, 0.08 multiplied to 1 minus 1 over 1 plus the rate, 0.08, and n, which is 5 years, times 1 plus the rate again, which is 0.08. So when we compute it, we get $3,018.49. Next. Next, we have the present value of a perpetuity. So, what's a perpetuity? It is an annuity with an infinite life. An annuity that never stops, providing its holder with the cash flow at the end of each year. So, the formula for this would be present value equals cash flow divided by R. So, we have an example that you want to like endow a chair in finance at your alma mater. The school requires $200,000 per year to support the chair, and the endowment would earn 10% per year. So our formula would be present value it is equal to cash flow divided by R. So as you can see, the cash flow would be $200,000. So you put that and then you divide it to the rate, which is 10%. So 0.10, and then you will get 2 million. So that's how to solve it, the present value of a perpetuity.
Mixed streams. It is a stream of unequal periodic cash flow that reflects no particular pattern. Mixed streams future value. This determines the future value of each cash flow at a specific future date and then add all the individual future values to find the total future value. An example, you expect to receive the following mixed stream of cash flows. End of year 1 is $11,500. Year 2 will be 14,000. Year 3 is 12,900. Year 4 16,000 and for year 5 is 18,000. Over the next 5 years expecting to earn 8% on your investment. Note that n is equals to 4 to 1. Another example is CF multiplied by 1 plus R raised to n, and for year 1 will be 11,500 equals to 11,500 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 minus 1 is equals to 15,645.62. And for year 2, 14,000 is equals to 14,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 minus 2 is equals to 17,635.97. For year 3, it is 12,900 is equals to 12,900 times 1.0.08 raised to 5 minus 3. And year 4 is 16,000 is equals to 16,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 minus 4 is equals to 17,280. And lastly, for year 5, it is 18,000 is equals to 18,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 minus 5 is equals to 18,000. And for the total, that is 83,608.15. This determines the present value of each future amount and then add all the individual present values together to find the total present value. An example. You have been offered an opportunity to receive the following mixed streams of cash flows over the next 5 years. Year 1, $400. Year 2, 800. Year 3 is 500. Year 4 is 400. And for year 5 is $300. If you must earn at least 9% on your investments, what is the most you should pay for this opportunity? Note that n is equals to 1 to 4. For the formula, it is future value divided by 1 plus r raised to n. And the example is for the year 1, it is 400, which is the future value divided to 1 plus 0.09, which is 0.09 is the 9% interest, raised to 1 is equals to 366.97. For year 2, it is 800 divided by 1 plus 0.09 raised to 2, and so on and so forth until year 5. For the total value of year 1 to year 5, it is 1,904.75. So this is the formula for compounding interest more frequently than annually. And another example for this part for compounding interest more frequently than annually is suppose you invest your $100 in a savings account, paying 8% compounded semi-annually, and you leave your money for 2 years. Using that formula, substituting the values, you'll get $116.99. Next is continuous compounding. What is continuous compounding? It involves compounding over the smallest time period imaginable. And for this is the formula for compounding continuous compounding, where e is the exponential function which has a value of approximately 2.7183. Nominal and effective annual rates of interest. The nominal or stated annual rate is the contractual annual rate of interest charged by a lender or promised by a borrower. The effective or true annual rate is the annual rate of interest actually paid or earned. And for the formula for this is appeared in the screen. What is annual percentage rate? This is the nominal annual rate of interest found by multiplying the periodic rate by the number of periods in 1 year that must be disclosed to consumers on credit cards and loans as a result of truth in lending law. Example: a bank credit card that charges 1.5 per month, which is the periodic rate, would have an APR of 18%, which is 1.5% per month multiplied with 12 months per year. Special application of time value. In determining deposits needed to accumulate a future sum, this will be the formula. Suppose you want to buy a car 5 years from now and you estimate that the initial down payment of 30,000 will be required at that time. To accumulate the 30,000, you will wish to make an equal annual end of year deposits in an account paying an annual interest of 6%. So to get the value of this, you will be just putting the values in the formula and the total will be $5,321.89. Next is loan amortization. Loan amortization refers to the determination of equal periodic loan payments. These payments provide the lender with a specified interest return and repay the loan principal over a specific period. The loan amortization process involves finding the future payments over the term loan, whose present value at the loan interest rate equals the amount of initial principal borrowed. For the formula, is CF is equals to PV times R divided by 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to X. Example is, you borrowed $6,000 at a 10% and agreed to make equal annual end of year payments over 4 years. To find the size of the payment, the lender determines the amount of 4-year annuity discounted at 10% that has a present value of an annuity. And for to get this, you will be using the formula, and the total will be 1,892.82. Finding interest growth rate. The formula is R is equals to future value times N divided by PV raised to 1 divided by N minus 1. Example, you have purchased an investment of 4 years ago for 1,250. Now it's worth 1,520. What compound annual rate of return you have earned on this investment? So for this investment, you have earned 5.1% per year. Finding an unknown number of periods. Finding the unknown number of periods involves solving for the last variable in the basic present value equation. Tools. Table of future value of $1 to be received after t periods is equals to 1 plus r raised to t. You are interested in purchasing an asset that costs $50,000 and you currently have 25,000. If you can earn 12% on your 25,000, how long will it take until we get the 50,000? Approximately 6 years or 6 point or approximately 6 years. To come up with the exact answer, we can manipulate the basic present value equation. The present value is $25,000 and the future value is 50,000. With the 12% discount rate, the basic equation takes on the following forms. 25,000 is equals to 50,000 divided by 1.12 and 50,000 divided by 25,000 is equals to 1.12. 12 is equals to 2. We thus have a future value factor of 2 for a 12% rate. We now need to solve for t. If you look to the table, a future value of $1 to be received after t periods, which is equals to 1 plus r raised to t, that corresponds to 12%, you will see that the future value factor of 1.97 occurs at 6 periods. To get the exact answer, you have to explicitly solve for t or use a financial calculator.
So, ngayon guys is isa-solve na natin siya using Excel. So, for the future value, you need to invest, yung example is you need to invest 1,000 in 1 year at 5% per year. And suppose you leave the money for another year, how much will you have for 2 years from now? So, yung present value natin is 1,000 kasi yun yung ininvest natin. And then, yung rate natin is 0.5 kasi yun yung 5%. And then, yung time naman is 2. So, ito yung formula. Yan. And then, gagamitin lang natin siya dito. So, magiging ganito siya. And then, enter natin. So, yung sagot is 1,102.5. So, next is present value. Example, suppose you need 10,000 in 1 year for the down payment on a new car. If you can earn 7% annually, how much do you need to invest today? So, kailangan daw natin ng 10,000 na down payment. So, yun yung future value natin. And then, yung rate naman natin is 0.7 kasi 7% yung nakalagay. You can earn 7%. And then, for the time naman is 1 year kasi invest today. So, and nakalagay din dito, nag-invest tayo in 1 year. So, yun. So, formula, PV is equal to FV divided by 1 plus R raised to T. So, gagamitin natin siya dito. Ayan, ganito yung itsura niya. And then, enter natin. So, yung sagot is 9,345.79. Next is simple interest. Example, suppose you invest $1,000 for 1 year at 5% per year. What is the future value for 2 years? So, yung principal natin is 1,000 and then yung rate natin is 0.05, yung 5%. Then yung time natin is 2. Yan, 2 years, sorry. And then formula is I is equal to PRT or P multiplied by R multiplied by T. So, pag multiply natin silang tatlo, yan siya. Yan, multiplication. Yan. Enter 100. And for the discount rate naman, example, you are looking at an investment that will pay 1,200 in 5 years. If you invest 1,000 today, what is the implied rate of interest? So, yung future value natin is yan yung 1,2 kasi kailangan daw natin ng investment for 5 years. So, yan, 1,2. And then, sabi dito, you invest 1,000 today. So, nag-invest daw tayo ngayon today. So, present siya. So, yun yung value natin for the present value. And then, yung time is yung 5 years. Yan. So, for the formula, R is equal to FB divided by PV raised to 1 divided by T minus 1. So, yan siya. Yan. Ayan siya. Yan yun yung sa formula. And then, hindi pa siya tapos kasi kailangan pa natin siya kunin yung interest rate. So, kailangan pa natin i-multiply by 100. So, yan. Yung sagot is 3.71. So, next naman is compound interest. Example, let's say you borrow 2,000 over a 3-year period, pay 10% annual interest rate on your debt and are not making regular repayments. Excuse me. So for the principal, you have 2,000 and then interest rate 0.1 which is yung 10% and then yung time is 3 because 3-year period daw. So yung excuse me. So yung formula A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I raised to T. So yan, ito siya. Pag ginamit natin yung formula and then enter natin, yung answer is 2,662. For the numbers of periods naman, example, you want to purchase a new car and you are willing to pay 20,000 if you can invest at 10% per year. And you currently have 15%. How long will it be before you have enough money to pay cash for the car? So, yung future value is yung 20,000 kasi yun yung babayaran natin for the car. And then, sabi dito, if you can invest 10% per year and you currently have 15,000. So, ngayon daw meron tayong 15,000. So, yun yung present value natin. And then, yung rate naman is 10% or 0.1. Then, ito yung formula. T is equal to IN divided by PV, divided by IN ulit. And then, 1 plus R. So, yan. Gamit natin siya. Input natin siya dyan. So, yan yung itsura niya. And then, INs is kapag gagamitin natin siya sa Excel, yun yung word na log. So, yan. Enter natin. So, yung sagot is 3.02. For the future value of single amount naman, example, suppose you have invested 300 in savings account that pays 12% interest per year. How much will you have in 1 year? So, yung principal natin is 300 and then yung rate natin is yung 12%, 0.12. So, ito yung formula, FV is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus R. So, yun siya. Gamit natin yung formula. Ganito siya sa Excel. And then, enter natin. 336. And for the present value of single amount naman, example, suppose you need $110 in a year and you can earn 10% on your money. How much do you have to invest today to reach your goal? So, for the future value, meron tayong 110. Yun yung value ng future value. And then, for the rate naman, yung value niya is yung 10%. So, 0.1. So, ito yung formula. PV is equal to FB divided by 1 plus R. So, yan siya. Ganito siya. And then, enter natin. So, sagot is 100. For the present value discounting cash flow naman, example, suppose you need $20,000 in 15 years and you can earn 7.5% on your money, how much do you have to invest today to reach your goal? So, yung future value natin is 20,000 kasi sabi dito, suppose you need to invest 20,000 for 15 years. So, for future siya. And then, yung rate natin is yung 7.5, so 0.75. And then, yung number of periods naman, or yung time, 15, kasi yan, 15 years. So, yung formula, PV is equal to FB divided by 1 plus R raised to N. So, gamitin natin siya, ganito siya, yan, sa taas. And then, enter lang natin. So, yung sagot is 6,759.32. So, for the future value of an ordinary annuity naman, example, a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of 800 at the end of each year for 6 years. And the firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 9%. So, for the cash flow, sabi dito 800. And for the rate naman is yung 9%. So, 0.09 siya and 0.09 siya. And then, sa number of periods naman or years is 6. Yan. Or time pala. So, ito yung formula. FB is equal to CF multiplied by 1 plus raised to N minus 1 divided by R. So, yan siya. Double tap natin yan. So, yan. Enter natin. So, yun yung sagot. 6,018.67. For the present value of an ordinary annuity naman, a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase particular ordinary annuity, and the annuity consists of cash flows 700 at the end of each year for 5 years, and the firms requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So yung cash flow daw is 700, as you can see. And then for the rate naman, meron tayong 8%, so 0.08 siya. And for the number of periods is 5. Kasi, sana yun? Yan, 5 years. And for the formula, PV is equal to CF divided by R multiplied by 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to N. So, yan siya. Yan. So, gagamitin natin siya dito. I-input na natin siya, yung formula, and then yung value. So, enter natin. So, sagot is 2,794.90. And then for the future value of an admitted due naman, a company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of 700 at the end of each year for 5 years, and the firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So, yung cash flow daw ulit, 700, and then for the rate naman, yung 8%, so 0.8. And for the number of periods naman, is 5 because yan, 5 years. Yan. And then ito yung formula. FB is equal to CF or cash flow multiplied by 1 plus R raised to N minus 1. And then i-divide natin siya sa R multiplied by 1 plus R. So, yan. So, gamit natin yung formula dito. Yan, ganito siya. Kasama yung mga value and yung formula. Sinunod natin to. Then, enter lang natin. So, yan. 4,435.15. So, dito na tayo. Present value of annuity due naman. A company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular annuity due, and the annuity consists of cash flow 700 at the end of each year for 5 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return rate of 8%. So, yung cash flow daw is 700. Ayan. And then, yung rate natin is yung 8%, so 0.8. And then, yung years or numbers of periods is 5. Yan, 5 years. So, ito yung formula niya. Yan. And then, gagamitin lang natin siya dito. So, ganito yung itsura niya. Ito sa taas. Yan, naka-highlight yan. Enter lang natin. So, 3,018.49. And lastly naman, for the present value of an perpetuity. Example, you want to enroll a share in finance at your alma mater. The school requires 200,000 per year to support the share, and the endowment would earn 10% per year. So, yung cash flow natin is yung 200,000. And then, yung rate natin is yung 10% per year. So, yan, 0.01. So, yung formula is PV is equal to CF divided by R. So, itong dalawang to, pag di-divide lang sila. So, yan, sagot. Yan, ganito po. Ganito muna siya. Yan, divide. So, enter natin. So, yan, 2 million.